Hey, how's it going? I have cards, which I'm gonna get to, but I have like a sort of list of topics that I made that have been kind of milling around in my head. Hold on a second. There. So yeah, they've just been sort of circulating my mind and being repetitive and stuff, so I'm talking about it. Okay. So, this is something that I have talked about here and there since I've been doing this. So, different channels than this one. And, it is something that I was uncomfortable talking about because I felt uncomfortable having the feeling, which is, like I'll say something on here, and then I will watch. It usually happens on the Sterling Psychic Medium Show, which is also on YouTube. And so, I might be too far away from the mic. I'm having some furniture issues. And so anyway, then I'll be watching the show, and it is not easy to say this because it feels kind of stupid, but it is how I feel, like, pretty strongly. So, what do you do? So the feeling is someone has seen what I said on one of my videos and then gone back to him and said, "Can this happen? Is this a thing?" You know, and I always feel like they went and tattled on me. Which also, like, I don't really feel comfortable saying that in front of you either, but there it is. And so, this Sunday, I haven't finished the episode yet, because it's, well, it doesn't matter. I haven't finished the episode yet, but one of the questions before I left made me feel so good and happy kind of about this, because, oh God, I just ate a little while ago, so now I'm bilious. If I can just get one to come out, I'll be okay. Okay, anyway, I hadn't finished that episode, and then I felt, like, vindicated because, and I haven't had any, I know, I'm doing that thing where I'm interrupting myself and not finishing. I felt vindicated because he started talking about the Galactic Federation of Light and how, you know, eventually going forward, nations on the planet are going to start aligning with and joining the Galactic Federation. And that's what I've been talking about, like, quite a lot lately. So, no one has said anything regarding that. It's mainly been something that was just kind of like my own personal take on something. And I also question stuff, you know, like, I by no means know everything. I'm just at a point where I'm feeling more confident about just saying what I feel like is happening. And so, you know, but I don't have my cred yet or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I guess wanted to talk about that. And let me see here. Blah, 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 me. Coming to terms with conflicting info. So that's another thing that happens, sort of through the Sterling vector. I was watching other psychics and channelers and things before I started watching Sterling, so I already had some things that were like, they resonate with me because I still watch like all of it. But they resonated with me, otherwise I wouldn't have even been attracted to them. And they are adjacent but different things are happening. Like, Sterling is a guy and he's a psychic medium, and so everything comes through him. Like, he has, like, the connection to, like, the other side of the veil and that kind of thing. And then Lee Carroll, who channels Cryan, which is sort of a collective angelic energy that coalesced into that voice and gave itself a name, I guess. And Lee Carroll does talk, but when Lee Carroll is Lee Carroll, it is totally separate from Lee Carroll channeling Cryan. And because when he channels Cryan, no Lee channel is part of that. I mean, he's there, he's aware, but he's not like, he's channeling Cryan. He's letting Cryan use his voice and vocabulary to express itself. And then there's like Daniel Scranton, who's a guy that I don't know if he's a psychic medium or not. I've never heard him talk about it, but I know he's like a Reiki master, and he channels like a lot of beings like Kuan Yin and Michael, and like Archangel Michael, and he has done Jesus and Melchizedek, who I recently found out was the same soul at different times with different names. And a lot more, like so many, and like fairies, and you have to go back, I think, or go to his website and kind of go back in years to find like the fairy stuff and all that, because remember, this is a man, and a lot of that stuff is really high pitched. And when he channels Michael, it's very like androgynous to feminine sounding, which is, it's still in his vocal range, but it's such a change from like the other stuff, which and he seems to mostly be doing awakening related entities talking through him. Like, he's doing a lot of Arcturians, but that's been for years. That's been a long time. But I also just learned that they are the awakening specialists. And so he channels them, and Saint Germain and Kuan Yin and another collective called the Creators, and another one called Thymus, which is a part of your brain. I don't know if everybody's making that connection or not. Like, I did when I first started seeing it, because he just started doing it recently, channeling this Thymus group. And I knew it was like a body part, and I knew it was in your brain, but that was about where I left it. I didn't really examine it too much, but it just occurred to me, like, over the weekend, well, why would they pick that particular name for themselves? And so I didn't really look at it properly, but it is a part of the brain that drives something. I need to go look. I need to do some more research on that. But the thing is that they don't all talk about the same thing, but they are all talking about the same things. Like, they're all in like the same lane kind of thing. And they don't, well, they haven't conflicted with each other, but Sterling, just even for me, conflicted a couple of times with Cryan, and I think with someone else too, like I don't remember if it was a person or a person channeling or what, but I think there was a second thing that happened that didn't like agree with what Sterling was saying, and he's pretty reliable. But the thing is that everybody's wrong sometimes, and like, don't like beat up a psychic because they're wrong sometimes. We're also wrong all the time. Like, just because you didn't get what you wanted to hear or whatever, for whatever reason that it was like wrong, it's not their fault. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why opinions might not coincide. And, I couldn't reconcile that at first. And then I was like, wait a minute. More than one thing can be true at once, right? So, the reasons why it could be wrong, one of them could be wrong, or even just not concur, is that, prevailing conditions on the ground could precipitate free will and change stuff. Or, some other thing that could affect, I guess, the timeline could, or does, and so things change, and you don't necessarily, it doesn't seem like, I can't say this from personal experience, but it doesn't seem like they get a telegram saying, hey, that prediction you made is going to be wrong now. I think there's probably finer details to it than that, but I don't know how to, unlock the mechanics of it either. Let me see. I had some other things, I'm pretty sure. Oh, here's one. This was really interesting, because I've talked about, my dreaming a little bit on my channel, and, it's infrequent, really, but right before COVID, and, from, I think, 2017 to 2019, something around there, a year before COVID began, I stopped having dreams that I'd been having for 2 years, and in the dreams it was always about people wearing masks, all different kinds of masks, and I had all of these completely wrong ideas about what the masks were about, and then the dream stopped, and maybe it wasn't a year, but it was long enough for me to forget that I'd been having those dreams, and then COVID happened, and everybody was wearing masks, and I was all annoyed. So, I'm not that quick on the uptake. But that's not what I started out to talk about. It was something about dreams. But so, I do have them sometimes, and they're coherent and cohesive, sort of. I mean, there's a pattern, at least, a recognizable pattern, or something that should have, there's something to it. And so, sometimes I'll just get a fragment, I'll just wake up remembering some little piece. Something has been trying to get into my awareness lately that's it's very familiar when I get a glimpse of it, which is very brief, but it's something familiar with people that are for some reason familiar, although they're not particularly recognizable to me, so I don't know why they would be familiar, but that's how dreams are. They're kind of crazy. And I sort of think it's like deja vu, but those don't really work that way. I mean, they haven't before. I don't know. Things can change. So, this morning I woke up and I don't dream that often anymore. I often wake up with just fragments, or just wake up knowing I dreamt something, and then throughout the day I'll have some impression will flash on me, and I'll be like, oh, that was from the dream, okay. But it's been pretty sparse lately, and so this morning I woke up and it was I don't even know how to describe the feeling of it. I have to describe first. I was sitting on my chair with the cat on me, and we were just hanging out, and all of a sudden I just was seeing myself, or not seeing myself, but myself was suspended in space, outer space, and I was over a planet, and I could see what were not the magnetic poles, but bands that were attached to the poles that were moving over the planet, from pole to pole and then the other way. If that makes any sense. It's so hard to describe this. But, I mean, for it to make sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't know if it describes what I was seeing. And then now I have to wonder, like, how influenced was I by Star Trek First Contact? Because I was wondering, was I, like, just dangling in space in a suit? Or was I in a ship like the Enterprise in that movie where there was a transparent part of the hull that looked like you could fall through it? Like, I didn't know which one I was in, and it wasn't long enough. Anyway, so the planet was like, it was purplish, like a deep lavender, and the bands crossing the planet, the magnetic bands, were like gold or yellow or something, like Laker colors, sort of. And I got the impression that boom, 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 like it was a total hit, like literally like boom, boom, boom. It was like, this planet is uninhabited and, well, as yet uninhabited, and is just waiting to be, well, terraformed, basically. Not to be changing it, but to be creating life on it, like seeding it and shepherding it. And early on, there's a lot of processes that happen that I don't intellectually even know how to describe when a planet is being, well, it's already been born. But, I mean, that is also part of the process. Just go with me if you can. Like, the planets are, I don't want to go that much into it. Let's just say that it starts somewhere, like it isn't immediate, like it's a pebble or a meteorite, whatever. But that whole process is part of the terraforming process. Like, there's got to be a planet in the first place, so it gets made somehow. There's some confusing stuff, so that's what I don't want to go into another time. So we got this young planet just waiting to have stuff on it. It's all fertile and, you know, New Eden or second or 20,000th Eden, New Eden, whatever. It's just going to be like a place that's full of life, and, you know, it gets created and formed and crafted and installed and watched over, and this is something my fellow space people, IRL space people, will know about the Palladians, is that they are like sort of our galactic parents, I guess, or cosmic parents, because they made this planet, like I've been talking about the one from the dream, like this is their baby. Like, I think the whole deal, you know, which Gaia is its own consciousness, and that kind of thing is where it gets confusing, that I don't want to go into, because I'm not even 100% on that planet as a conscious being thing. But, you know, we start out as some pretty crude material, and look what we end up being able to do. Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, back to the dream. Somehow I knew that, like, this was the situation with this planet, and then I was like, what the hell am I doing here? And then I began to understand, like, oh, wait, I'm taking part in this? Like, I'm, like, doing the planet too? And then it ended. But I'd been wondering what I've been dreaming about, because I knew I was dreaming, I just wasn't really remembering much. So that was interesting. And then I discovered something else. Like, well, this is not a discovery. I already knew this, and I don't know why it is. It's kind of irrational and silly, because I had this feeling, like, I didn't like the Palladians. I was, like, resentful of them. Why? I had, like, just learned of their existence, and I was all, I don't like them. What am I talking about? So, that has been, like, an underlying thing that I know about myself as I've learned more and more about the Palladians and their part in, like, well, I mean, Native American culture can talk about them a whole lot. They may call them by a different name, but because they have their own languages. But it's those same people, and there's a history that goes from very far back of the time where there was human beings or, you know, bipeds to talk to that could do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That could communicate, and we're taught, just like has happened so many times all over the planet in its history, where some higher form of being came along and, you know, taught them math or how to farm or how to, like, build a road. Like, whatever it was, we've always had help. And this is the kind of help, like, back to the dream that I'm talking about. Like, the people that are engineering this are the people that will be there, like, until, like, whatever is supposed to be accomplished that makes a planet and its people finished. That's what they're doing. Like, they're still here. They're still minding the kids. That would be us. Really ill-behaved children. So anyway, I think I'm coming to terms with whatever my resentment was. Like, I really, like, have some nerve. What the hell do I have to resent them for? Just craziness. Like, it's already crazy talk. I'm aware of that. It's even nuttier. So, like, I told you all of that, but that wasn't that wasn't the point. Like, the point of just sort of tenderizing you with some Palladian stuff was that Cryan, who I was just talking about, says Palladians kind of weird. Like, he says Pleiadians. So I was kind of giggling about that. You saw it just made me laugh. So I was just like, Pleiadians, 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 and I started saying that like over and over, and I was like, wait a minute. Every time I say that, like, more, my body starts having some kind of reaction, and I was like, what is that? I've been using it, like, when I meditate. It just adds a different flavor, like, it adds another level of sensation to it. I don't know what it's doing. It might be making me sillier. Okay, not bad on time. I ended up with a lot of cards because I dropped a bunch on the floor, so we'll just see. But you know what? I shuffled these. I, like, cut them and separated them and shuffled and shuffled and shuffled. Like, they were well shuffled, and there's a couple of cards from the last throw in here, so which is not unusual to happen, but no buts. I'll just go. Oh yeah. I forgot to invite you to please pay a little bit of attention to my sign there. Oh, you probably can't see very well, huh? Yeah, the light's not great, but I don't feel like turning on a brighter one. So, anyway, back to the cards. So, the first card I pulled was 1111. And I've been talking about the 11s and the reflections lately, and this is a number that is, among other things, associated with the twin flames. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's got, like, a lot of stuff. I'm not going to explain it. So, before I read the card, I just want to return to something I was talking about the last couple of videos, I guess, and it was the reflections and mirroring in terms of, like, ourselves and others. And for the twin flames to come together, they have to balance first their own inner divine feminine and divine masculine, because otherwise nothing's going to happen, or it's just not going to work. So I just want to mention that while I have this handy, because I know there's another card with more ones in it, and I want to talk about it differently. So the subtitle on here is Wish Come True. That, you know, oh my God, soulmate, twin flame, you found them. Wish come true. I mean, I guess it's not really about like a romantic thing. It's more along the lines of completing a circuit. Because if it works the way it's supposed to, evidently it causes a cascade effect of stuff that's supposed to happen under the right conditions, and the twin flame succeeding, I guess, is one of those conditions that has to be met. So the card reads, you're in for a lucky break. It may come as happy news, experience, new opportunities, or an exciting acquaintance. That's what I forgot to add at the end of the rest of this is, or maybe I did, like, I don't remember what I said already, but it's not just about romantic connection. Oh yeah, complete a circuit. But it's not just about romance. Like, there are other things it could apply to, like the card was saying. And so you will find yourself in the right place at the right time. It is not a coincidence, but a gift from fate. Well, that's intriguing. And so here is the next card. A bunch of 77777s, which is a positive thing from my perspective. The subtitle, I'm just talking to the side. I bet you didn't hear any of that. We got a bunch of sevens, and from my perspective, that's a good thing. That's a positive omen type situation. The subtitle here is Perseverance. Keep sevening on. 7 onward. Okay, since there's not a million of them, I'm going to read some keywords. Change of perspective, reflection, repeating themes. Back to the card. Inner strength, wisdom, enlightenment, repeating themes. There's a need for a change of perspective on whatever is taking over you now. What is your obsession? Maybe you need to back off a little bit and give it a rest. This is sounding like you might be sevening too much. You might want to... Oh my God. The next card. You might want to taper off on all of the sevens. Okay, the card reads, there's a need for a change of perspective on whatever has taken over you now. If you want to succeed, you need to keep going down the road you're on. Reach for the wisdom within, and you'll just know what the right next step is. That is a pretty normal occurrence. Like, maybe you have all of the pieces, but you don't even know it until you just come along that last one that's like, oh, now everything makes sense now that I have this one. Okay, so the next card, more sevens. This is more companionable. This looks like a formation, like march where I tell you to go. You totally similar guys. Okay, subtitle on this one is good luck. See, sevens are good. I'll read the keywords. Contentment, prosperity, abundance, spiritual awakening, repeating theme, divine intervention. I mean, also a thing that's more normal than we really realize. We get lots of help, like, you know, take me doing this right now. Whatever intuition I'm getting or insight is coming, this is a tool that makes it available, more easily available for me to access. So, I feel like that's kind of a divine intervention. It's helping me steer. So anyway, the card reads, this message is most likely to reach you during intense uncertainty. Well, I mean, maybe not me personally, but I'd say like the general situation here in the United States is kind of uncertain and tenuous, and depending on your perspective, exciting or scary. Or both. You weirdo. You'll come out winning from everything that may come your way. Everything is going my way. It's also a sign that you have much life experience and wisdom to share, yet you'll need enthusiasm and effort to get this message to others. Well, I don't mean to slouch. Come on, guys. Message. Okay. Next card is 2323. And I just remembered when I saw this earlier. It's one of the ones that fell on the floor. I think. Anyway, several years back, I was talking to my brother, and he was having kind of a hard time. And I sure should have put this together because I had all of the technology. I just didn't plug it in or something. But he was having kind of a tough time in life, you know, like maybe a little bit of rock bottom, you know. And we had like several conversations where he was just really uncertain, and it's not. He's like me. He's always been really good at getting a job, and you know, he gets pretty good jobs. But anyway, he was just having a hard time. Like his life was just making him sad. Not to give away his life, so he was like, "Man, what is up with this? I keep seeing a number 23 everywhere." And so I knew about repeating numbers, but I wasn't really like, if I looked at them as much as I have now, I would have known just off the top of my head that 23, it's the angel number, the number of like the angels trying to get your attention, which is what the repeating numbers are. It's like, if it's not it's trying to get your attention and tell you something or get you to pay attention to something. And so I didn't know like what it specifically was, like I just described, but I told him, I go, look, it's something particular to you, which is true. Like, he needed to wake up to something, and I wouldn't know what that is because we didn't grow up in the same house. So and then now we're adults, and he's got his life that's somewhere else, and I have mine that's somewhere else from him. I'm sure he's found out what it was between now and then. His life has certainly picked up between now and then. Okay, thanks for the chills. So, the subtitle on this card is Endless Cycles. And that's interesting that I said rock bottom, because that's kind of like the bottom end of a cycle. That you can only go up from there. I mean, I guess you could drill down and be miserable for a while, but usually that is like something that happens when you have when you adulterated your system in some way. This is just my opinion. So the card reads, there's some truth you're resistant to accept over and over again until you're tired, like the repeating numbers trying to get your attention, until you're tired and restrained beyond depression. It takes a decision to live life for yourself. Life is all about passion. When you make a change, then you make a change and the world around you follows. And that's that consciousness thing too. Like, or, when you're unhappy, you can do something as simple as smiling and just keep doing it, and then all of a sudden something about the smiling makes you feel better, even though maybe in that particular situation it's gonna come across different, but the same result happens. So, okay, here's a card. Like, this was in yesterday's reading, or last reading, and it's the 2112 card, and the subtitle is, "It's Up to You." He was down, we had a talk, I pointed him in, I think, the right direction, and he's also a Sagittarius, so we're both very independent people, and actually, like, I should be grateful that he reached out and said anything, because he'll keep, stuff to himself a lot, and I get that. Like, I know why he does it. I'm not that way. I'll blab to whoever will listen. Anyway, the card reads, even if it's... Oh, I already read this, didn't I? No. Even if it seems like you're not making any meaningful progress, things are moving in the right direction. If you see this number, it's a sign that everything will work out in your favor, and your dreams will come true soon. Well, that's optimistic. I'm glad to hear something like that. Okay, so here's the other card with the ones as I rake my mosquito bite to death. It is the 111 card, which is the new beginnings in a lot of ways. Not on this card, but if you look at, like, Joanne angel number, that on that site, on, like, the same page, you can click on angel numbers or numerology, and you'll find that both of those mostly are talking about, well, not mostly are talking about it, but they both say new beginning. And then I've seen it other places too, but the mirroring is what I want to talk about, because there's 3 people there. Get your mind out of the gutter. I think what it represents is us all mirroring each other. Like, it could have been a pair of people to begin with, and then there's a crowd of other people to reflect off of. Three's a crowd. Okay, the card reads, time to implement long cherished ideas. You're on the right track toward making your dreams and visions a reality. Well, we're really making our dreams come true in this reading. The right people, circumstances, again, and resources are being sent your way. Happiness and new opportunities are at hand. Trust the process. Okay. I mean, everything seems to be kind of doubling down here. So, 2 more. So this card was also in the last reading, and it's the eye candy. And now it's more strongly coming across as, like, you got it all. Like I was saying before, like, you got it going on. You got the technology. You know a lot of the stuff. If you don't know the next thing, you're, like, almost on it. Like, it's right there, like, just out of reach. Like, you're almost onto, like, the next level of difficulty, I guess, or, challenge. And you just are, like, a treat. So, it reads, get some fresh air or call some of your pals over. Take a look around you. There is so much natural beauty waiting to be discovered by other people. Either you will soon become involved in an exciting new project, or you will go out on a date. Put your charisma to use everywhere. Spread your charm. If you got it, flaunt it, I guess. So this is the last card, the 999 card, and the subtitle is Release. That's kind of grim. 999 is the British equivalent of 911. And when I saw the release, that just made me think of, like, I can't remember the phrase. final. I'll put it that way. It seems final. Like the emergency ambulance came to get you to take your remains away. And I said it was grim, but it might not necessarily be a person. It could be metaphorical. Let me read. I'm getting far away from the microphone again. Let me read some keywords and see how it works here. Balance, finances, success, wealth, cycles. More cycles. What goes around comes around. Well, that is certainly a cycle. And the card reads, your current circumstances are ending, so you might take advantage of better ones. New beginning, better 111s. If you are experiencing a significant change or conclusion, I'd say there's at least a couple of either or of those happening in the world, in life right now. If you're experiencing a significant change or conclusion, viewing your life as a series of cycles or chapters may be helpful. How can you make room for something new to emerge? Let something go. If you're going to have a new beginning, have an ending. That's how they work. Oh, yeah, okay, that's it. So, I guess I'm done. Thank you and good night.